G'day, James here. I'm just filling in for a couple of days while Alicia is away, actually on a train trip with her grandpa, of all things. But she's asked me to fill in a couple of days for this Facebook Live challenge, 15 daily lives, that we're going through how to build an exceptional massage business. And one of the things, what I'm going to talk about today, is this really strong mindset idea of living above the line or coming from cause. It's really just two different words that we use, two different phrases that we use to mean basically the same thing. And what I mean by this is that when it comes to our attitude towards what we do in our lives, there's really two kind of ways of looking at how we are influenced by the things around us and how we then influence back again, how we interact with the world around us. As challenges come up, as they do in business and life, as opportunities come up, how do we think about and interact with these things that are happening in the external world as they move through our brain and into our internal world? And the two different ways that we can do this are that, number one, we can do what's called coming from cause. And this is what we call living above the line as well. And coming from cause, if you think about it, any kind of action that happens in the world, whether that's perceived to be good or negative in its effect on you, there's really two things that action has. It has a cause and an effect. So there will be a cause. There will be the thing that makes something happen. The cause, and then the effect is the outcome of it, the things that have happened after that cause takes place. And in our life, we can actually look at the things around us and we can say, we are part of the cause. We are part of the reason that things happen, and we can take ownership of that. Or we can look at ourselves as part of the effect, that other things happen to us, other things happen, and we are just part of the result of other things that happen, or our place in the world is held hostage as a result of those other things that happen. And the difference, the thing is that with this, there's a difference between the truth or the thing that might be happening that is at fault, if it's something that's a challenge or something that's negative, and the idea of taking responsibility. They're different. Fault and responsibility are different. And so if, for example, something happens that, like this is the sort of thing that we hear a lot in business, is, oh, my business isn't going so well, the economy's really bad, and I'm in an area where a lot of people are struggling, and so my business is going really terrible. Now, that kind of statement, that kind of language that someone is using there, is coming from effect, because we're looking at the cause being something else, the economy or the neighborhood or something else, and we are being handled in the effect of that. Something else is causing it, and we are seeing the effects. Now, the truth is that maybe there is some economic downturn, and maybe local people are being affected by that. But the minute that we have that attitude, that those other things are happening and we are just in the effect of that, we're being caught up in the effect, the minute we have that attitude, we lose any power within ourselves to influence that situation. It's much better to come from cause, to think, well, part of what I do is causing what's happening right now. It doesn't mean there's fault there. It doesn't mean it's my fault, but it means it's my responsibility to turn this around if I choose to and make a difference in my circumstances. Because this is the power of this idea. When you truly believe and behave as though you are the cause, you are living at cause, it gives you the power to respond to anything that happens, whether they are challenges or opportunities. You suddenly have the power in that moment to make decisions that will affect the outcome. And another great example might be, say you're driving down the road and your car gets hit by someone else, sideswiped by someone going through a red light. Now, there's no way that's your fault, right? You're just driving down the road as per normal. You're not the cause of that happening. It's not your fault. But you can take responsibility for it, and that gives you power to react and respond to what is happening in that moment. So it's not your fault, that's fine. But if it is your responsibility, if you take that on board, it means that when that crash happens, you jump out and you say, well, what can I do right now to make this better? I can call an ambulance, I can take action, I can do things. You're coming from cause in that moment and taking responsibility. Maybe also you need to take responsibility for buying a bigger, safer car, or for looking even for crazy drivers when you're crossing intersections. There's things you could do to make it happen differently next time, or to have a different outcome when those things happen next time. A great example of this is one of our clients, and I know I won't mention her name, but she has been going through a lot of this process over the last 6 months. A few challenges in her business, overcoming them well. Every time something happens, like a staff member leaving, or she actually, I think, got robbed at one point, someone, not from one of her staff, from someone else, came in and stole some money from them. And it's not like any of that is particularly her fault, but the point is that every time a challenge comes up like that, she goes in and she says, right, well, what can I do to fix it right now? Whatever that is, let's do it. And how can I stop it from happening next time? Do I need better locks on the doors? Do I need security system? Do I need to have some staff engagement programs so that I can make sure these people stick around? Can I manage them better? What is it I can actually be responsible for right now to make sure that those things are going to be better in the future? And coming from cause, from that place, will change your life. Because all of a sudden, everything that happens, you have control over, you have responsibility for, and you can change if you want to. Doesn't mean it's easy. In fact, sometimes it's the complete opposite. It's actually more difficult to live from cause, because if there's something you don't like, you have the responsibility to change it. If there's an outcome you're not seeing, all of a sudden you're like, well, if I'm not seeing it, then I must do something to change that. And you suddenly realize that you are responsible for all the outcomes and non-outcomes that are happening in your life. You're responsible for all the amazing things that are happening and all the dead places. And if you want to fix something, you're responsible for finding the thing to fix it. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it does mean that if you come from cause, no challenge is too great. You can solve things if you decide you want to when you come from cause. That's it from me. Awesome to be catching up with you again today. I can't wait to see you again tomorrow. Cheers. That's me over and out.